राना मुबशिर आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर जी। आज हम बात करेंगे, हमारे साथ मेहमान है जी कुछ, दे आर लाइक फ्रॉम स्टेट्स, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स से आए हैं और दे आर सीनियर फेलोज और यहाँ पे आए हैं और दे आर ऑन अ लिसनिंग ट्रिप भी और दे वांट टू नो द ग्राउंड रियलिटीज़। और जैसे कि आपको पता है कि 100 दिन ओबामा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के ख़त्म हो चुके हैं, तो दे वांट टू नो कि क्या ओबामा की, प्रेसिडेंट ओबामा की जो पॉलिसीज़ हैं आर दे वर्केबल और नो, और अगर नहीं है तो उनको कैसे बेहतर किया जा सकता है, उनको क्या ये रिकमेंडेशंस लेके जाएंगे। दे हैव कम अप विद रिपोर्ट ऑल्सो जी, इनकी, क्योंकि दे आर फ्रॉम द सेंटर फॉर अमेरिकन प्रोग्रेस एंड दे हैव कम अप विद अ रिपोर्ट ऑल्सो एंड नाउ अगेन व्हेन दे गो बैक होम दे आर गोइंग टू कम अप विद सम रिकमेंडेशंस। इंट्रोडक्शन कराता चलूँ जी आपका। मेरे साथ मौजूद है लॉरेंस कॉब, thank you very much for showing in.
Nice to be with you.
Thank you. And Brian Catullus.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, Brian. You just showed up. You were like too busy, right?
Yes.
Meeting people and all over, right?
Yes, we met people inside and outside of government, people from academics, people from the media, and I must say people have been wonderful to us. Many have even taken us into their homes, to speak to us.
So you were extended home hospitality as well, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So what's your take on this one? They're like, if we go if we go on the streets, and as we met the people also, Americans are not hated over here as such. It's the policies. So there was a time when the Americans used to like invest a lot on the people, so that they can interact, go to states, they know how the system works, they should know how the system works, and they mingle with the Americans over there. And in America, home hospitalities were extended. I visited, like, I went for a IVP program, and they were like, it was a good program. You people have like not doing it no more, right?
Well, we're not doing it as much as we should because after the attacks of September 11th, we overreacted to people coming into our country, particularly people that come from the Arab and Muslim world. And so as a result of that, they tightened the restrictions on many Pakistanis who might have come to the United States in the past. They made the process so cumbersome that a lot of very bright young people just decided it wasn't worth it and then decided to go and study in other countries.
What is your take on this one? Because you are on a listening trip over here. And you want me to do all the talking, or will you do the talking?
Well, so I think our first impressions are for U.S. policy in the early months of the Obama administration. We have a lot of work to do to actually reestablish the partnership or build a partnership between our two countries and our people, too. I think if there's one thing that's positive about what's happened in America, the election of President Obama reflects, I think, a strong desire among the American people for a change, but also in a change of how we're viewed around the world. And I think there's great potential there, but it's easy. All of this is easier said than done. And we really need to do a comprehensive shift, implement a comprehensive shift in our policy towards Pakistan. And our first impression is that there's a lot of work to be done, and it shouldn't just be focused on military and security issues. We need to actually expand economic cooperation. We need to do the sorts of things that you were talking about before, expand cultural and educational ties, because my impression is that though the polls say the Pakistani people have an unfavorable view of the United States, there's a lot that can be worked with. There's a lot that's in common between the American character and the Pakistani character, and our relationship, I think, could be very strong. But we need to move beyond this episodic, reactive approach to policy and actually develop a strategic relationship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think it's important to keep in mind that for many Pakistani people, even those favorably disposed toward the United States, we are seen as fair weather friends, or in fact as somebody put
because you took off once the job was over in Afghanistan. I'm talking about the Cold War.
Sure, we were like disposable allies, and it wasn't just after Pakistan and the United States worked together to deal with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. There were times before when, after Pakistan had helped President Nixon, with the opening to China, then President Carter cut off aid, and then of course you had after the Pakistan exploded the atomic bomb, after India did, they had what we call the Pressler Amendment, which cut off aid, and then of course after 9/11, then we're back again. So I think we have to say we're here for the long run. We're going to have a permanent.
This time you're serious, right?
That's right, and I think one of the things we made the recommendation in our study, and the Congress is already moving with it, long-term economic and social aid to Pakistan, basically, and they're talking in the Senate right now about 1.5 billion a year over 5 years.
But if you're talking about 1.5 billion, don't you think it's like too little? Like
I agree, and I think we're one of the things. If anybody asks,
it's just like peanuts.
Yes, in fact, somebody used that term when we were discussing it with them. Yeah, I think it should be more. I mean, given we've spent close to $1 trillion in Iraq and probably 400 billion in Afghanistan, dealing with those situations. So certainly we can do more. But I think the key thing is for us to ensure that it goes in the right places and that the Pakistanis spend it wisely, because the last thing we need, whatever the amount is, to find out it's been wasted or there's been corruption. We've had tremendous amount of corruption with our aid in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah. And if that's one thing we've been hearing in nearly all of the meetings that we're having, no matter the political party or whether you're in government or out of government, there's a deep concern among Pakistanis about governance. The word governance comes up. Can we actually get our institutions to function? And some people have even said to us, look, if Americans expect that this aid is going to change your image, it's not going to work unless there's some actual internal reforms in Pakistan here. We've got to get our institutions, our ministries, to more effectively deliver assistance. This is Pakistani speaking, not us.
Yep.
And
they're
asking for help in that. And all of that, I think, is very important, because I think it highlights that we're perhaps moving to a new phase beyond a transactional relationship, beyond just our military and our intelligence services working with the Pakistani military and Pakistani intelligence services. But all of that is going to require a serious investment of personnel, time on the ground, and doing the sorts of things that we were trying to do with this trip, of listening and actually trying to get a sense of the complexity of this great country.